Momentum starts with movement. It's pulled from the air like a contested rebound. Momentum builds with steals and fast breaks, and is proven by deep threes as the shot clock expires. Momentum is how we change the game. And now it's time to discover where it can take us. Goodyear, more driven.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. Alabama! Your home of the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
Got a wreck on County Line near James Clements High School. That one reported with an injury. And we have one in Decatur Central and Woodall. That came in as a no injury, but it reported with blockage. Great summers start at the Y. You can kayak, zip line, go on the giant swing or blob, all at Camp Chalakee, chalakee.org, or just call the YMCA. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jap Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center. County Line.
With the WZDX Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A little bit of sunshine through your Friday afternoon. Temperatures hanging out in the mid and upper 70s. Some scattered showers are going to be possible, especially through the back half of the afternoon, early into the evening. A better opportunity for more widespread shower and thunderstorm activity moves into the Tennessee Valley as we head into the overnight, early into your Saturday morning. Some of that activity could be on the strong or even severe end of the spectrum. All modes of severe weather are going to be possible. A mostly cloudy to overcast sky on Saturday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
Good morning. Some of that activity could be on the strong or even severe.
Latest MLB futures released 1 week.
Possible. A mostly cloudy to overcast sky on Saturdays. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.
Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome in. This is your little preview here on our digital channels, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, all that good stuff. Want to say welcome in. This is your little pre-show chat before we join the full radio audience. And I want to let everybody know we have got a fantastic show, a fantastic Friday lineup planned. We're going to talk a little bit about the Masters Round 2. Going to want to make sure you listen. We're going to play some audio from Colin Cowherd on Mac Jones, and if it's going to, it'll cause a good little debate here. We've got that. Hey, we've got some numbers from the NCAA tournament. We've got ratings, but more importantly, we got how much ad revenue the NCAA brought in for each round, and it's very interesting. So join us here. We're going to get joined with our radio audience now.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, I'm rolling. Here we go. Hey, welcome in. Good morning, everybody, and welcome into our Friday edition of Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you on this Friday morning in what should be a fantastic show. It's a fantastic Friday. Appreciate everybody for waking up with us. We want to invite you to join us this morning on the show. As always, we could not do the show without you listening at home, so we want you to be a part of it. Just give us a call, 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, and you can get in on the show this morning. Whatever's weighing on your mind as we head into the weekend, what are you anticipating? What are you eagerly watching this weekend? Are we going to watch the Masters on Saturday? Are we going to watch the final round of the Masters on Sunday? Does it feel good to have the Masters back in April? We had it in November. Just didn't feel right. You know, right in the middle of football season. Didn't feel right. This feels normal. This feels right to be saying on Sunday we have the final round from Augusta National. 256-576-4977. That's the number of the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. We welcome your phone calls this morning. We appreciate you for listening and watching with us. We say watching because as always, we are live on Facebook right now. We are live on Twitter. We are live on Twitch. And we are live on our YouTube channel. So you can sit back and watch us. You can listen to us. You can do all kinds of great stuff. on this Friday morning. Obviously, we will talk a little bit of the Masters. We'll get you caught up on round one, what happened yesterday, what to look forward to today. Coming up at 7:30 this morning, Charlie Plott will be in studio with us as we break down the Masters. Herbert Jones makes it official. He's putting his name in the NBA draft. I know you're going to say, well, he's a senior, and that's a no-brainer. But remember, this year we have to say that he's putting his name into the NBA draft because every senior had the option, not just at Alabama, every senior across college basketball had the option to come back next year if they so choose to. Now, John Petty thanked the Alabama faithful, the Alabama fans, and thanked everybody about a week ago. Yesterday, Herbert Jones did the same thing. Not a surprise. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Colin Cowherd, oh boy. It's a debate that is going to happen. It's a debate that is going to go on and on and on until we hear the first round of the NFL draft from Cleveland on who will take who with the third pick. Will San Francisco take Mac Jones? Will they take Trey Lance? Will they take Justin Fields? That is a question that is going to be asked ad nauseum until the NFL draft. We've talked a lot about it on this show. Colin Cowherd, his opinion means absolutely nothing, but sometimes his takes are worth playing, and we'll let you know what he had to say on Mac Jones. The ratings are in for this year's NCAA basketball tournament. Just how much money did the NCAA tournament make? Now, we have it per round on ad revenue, starting with the first four, going all the way to the championship game. This will tell you why it was important that they play the NCAA basketball tournament this year. Because if there was any doubt as to how much money they lost last year, this will help. Now, the ratings are also in. The ratings were not good for the championship game. But the money figures will simply just blow your mind away. We'll also get you ready for Alabama's second scrimmage of the spring. They scrimmage tomorrow. Auburn will have a workout in front of the media tomorrow. All of this is in preparation for A-Days, which are coming up just around the bend. Today is the day. Remember, Alabama Athletics Director Greg Burns said today is the day that they hope to announce how many fans will actually be allowed to attend A-Day. Like I said, Drew, there is a smorgasbord of topics out there, and I'm sure there's a lot of Alabama fans. There's a lot of fans that will attend spring games here in the state, eagerly anticipating how many will be allowed in there, and if they will be one of those ones that'll be allowed to be in there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they put the capacity at. As we said, tickets are going to go on sale to the general public. The high dollar donors and stuff, those are going to be $10 up in the suites, and then the $5 tickets will go on sale tomorrow. I don't know exactly what time. I guess early in the morning. But I would imagine Greg Byrne will probably go public today with what they now the Governor Ivy has had her diatribe and what she and her take on everything. I'm sure they'll discuss with the CDC and everything in the state, leaders in the state, but and decide how many people they're going to let in.
You think 50% might be a reasonable number?
Maximum, probably, because it allows for social distancing and
right.
I know there's been some folks vaccinated, but some have not been. So I think it'll probably be at most 50%.
Expectations. We're going to talk to Rodney Orr in the second hour, but we'll talk a little bit in the first hour in case you can't join us in the second hour. Expectations for tomorrow, though. for the scrimmage?
Well, I mean, you're going to want to see progress, from the offensive line. I know they had trouble blocking the first defense, especially. Of course, that's a great defense you're having to deal with, but you want to see, progress from Evan Neal at left tackle. Damian George at right tackle. What's the buzz on how he's looking? Are they going to continue to go with that first group with Tommy Brown at left guard? Right guard, Javian Cohen. Are they going to shuffle a little bit? We know, well, it's a foregone conclusion. Chris Owens is going to be with the ones at center as long as he's healthy. I think we understand that. So, but right tackle, is interesting because of J.C. Latham, the freak 5-star. Is he going to push Damian George? But see, a lot of people, including myself, we talked about Javian at right tackle. We didn't really talk about Damian George. And, talking to West Neighbors last night on the drive, Damian George is really one of these, poster boys for Dr. Matt Ray and David Ballou, because when he came in from Houston, Texas, he was, let's just say, sloppy. I mean, I don't know what his exact weight was,
right?
But I'm thinking it was in the Fluker area of DJ. I think it was about 400 when he got to Alabama, and so basically Damian had to reshape his body, and he's done so. He's a gargantuan of a human being, just like Big Fluke. And, one of the funniest stories I read was one of his coaches was posted on a website and said he went to see DJ when he was redshirting, and he was just like, man, Coach, I got to make weight. He goes, man, you look great. He goes, but I got to make weight or Coach Saban's going to kill me. And, I think he needed to make about 340, something like that. So it's going to be interesting to watch that. And, of course, Bryce Young and the other young quarterbacks who struggled, how much progress have they made? Then, you got so many young receivers you're going to be kind of keeping an eye on and have your ear to the ground for buzz about them, running backs. I mean, of course, defensively, you're going to be, you're going to hear more of Kool-Aid McKinstry's name, who's, getting those reps at corner. Opposite Josh Jobe. Really, that's the biggest pressure point right now in that defense, because everyone else, I know Christian Barmore's gone, but they have got a lot of good young defensive linemen that can step up. But that corner spot, and then, of course, replacing Dylan Moses. Is Jalen Moody and Christian Harris, are they the combination? And then because there's the specter of Henry To'oTo'o, Pat called in this week with wanting a To'oTo'o update. So it'll be T-minus about a week and counting with what Jake Crane has told us. So everybody's waiting to see if that rule is passed.
Yeah, and that's we're referencing the NCAA one-time transfer rule that'll allow you to transfer without having to sit out a year. Now, of course, the ACC has already disallowed or already said goodbye to the interconference transfer rule, so they are not going to block those anymore. The SEC has not come out and said they are doing away with the interconference transfer rule, but if other conferences are already saying we're going to throw that by the wayside, you can only imagine the SEC will be joining the others and doing away with the interconference rule, which would allow him to transfer from Tennessee to Alabama if he so chooses.
Yeah, and it's basically a two-horse race, as we reported. It's Alabama and the Suckeyes, because Ohio State is clamoring that even though the NFL scouts and Bucky Brooks and them act like Alabama's far and away the most talented team, and if you play with a bunch of talent, you're really not as good as your evaluation. Ohio State's supposed to be up there, yet they're claiming it's a desperate situation that they need a middle linebacker. I guess they haven't been recruiting as well since we watched Lurch try to chase Deontay Smith into the end zone after trying to break Najee Harris's ankle, which was interesting. But, I guess that's what you do when you suck. But anyway, we'll see. To'oTo'o, I think he'd be too good to pass up at this point if he and his father decide they want to matriculate to Tuscaloosa. Here's my theory on the whole deal. People have said that Ohio State's in a slight lead. If they were, then why isn't he committed? If they're so desperate, because he could have already done that. They would have taken him. There's no interconference deal going on. I still tell you they're waiting. They're waiting to see if they can get the the green light from the SEC, and then Nick Saban gives the thumbs up, and then 11's in crimson. But, that's just my theory.
So all that is coming up, and coming up on Monday, Drew will be in attendance for the second spring scrimmage, so we will get a firsthand update from Drew on Monday about the scrimmage. Auburn, they're going to go through a practice inside Jordan-Hare Stadium this weekend. The media will be in there for the second time. That's a completely different from what it was like under the Gus Malzahn era. For those that don't know, I mean, it's the same way really to it at Alabama. You're only allowed, well, even at Alabama, you were allowed more access than what you were at Auburn. Alabama, you would get to be going in for about 10 minutes. And Nick Saban usually lets you in for about 10 minutes of practice time, and that's about what you get. At Auburn, Gus Malzahn would let you in for 10 minutes, the very first practice, and that would be about all you would get the whole entire time. You would not. I mean, that was it. From you would get in for the first spring practice, and you would not get in until A-Day. Brian Harsin has already had one open practice, even to the public. The media was there as well, and they'll be there again. The media will be for the second time ahead of the scrimmage. So completely different mindset for spring ball down there at Auburn under Brian Harsin than what we've seen under Gus Malzahn.
Well, as Jake said, and with Nathan Moore, I got Nathan Moore on the brain here, Huntsville High, but and Nathan King said of Auburn Undercover, it's just a welcome change, kind of a breath of fresh air. Gus could seem rather paranoid at times, and so Harsin's, opened things up a little bit more. So it's been good. There's been a lot of just like making all the assistant coaches. We talked about that yesterday. The defensive assistants met the media, and then of course on earlier in the week. We got I think these happen on Monday and Wednesday with the offensive coaches and then the defensive coaches. So, but we were talking about that yesterday, that the entire staff as a whole has really been made available. The position coaches, the coordinators at points in time, and of course Brian Harsin. So he's allowing all his coaches to get some face time with the media, go on the record about their guys and in their positions. And so that's giving you a kind of look behind the curtain. And as you said, Scott, already had an open practice to the media and the fans. This weekend we think is just media right now, but still allowing them to watch the workout. So some good stuff should be coming out. There's some outstanding buzz from the Plains.
All right, so there's a little spring football for you in regards to Alabama and Auburn. Coming up here in just a little bit, Charlie Plott will be in studio as we get you caught up on round one of the Masters. Round two is already underway. There's guys already underway for round two. So there's a few guys on the course. Nobody really in contention right now. Teeing off at the Masters, your tee times. Justin Rose will go off at 8:36 this morning. Of course, Justin Rose fires a 7-under 65 in round one to lead the Masters. He did it on a torrid 10-hole stretch, drew 7 birdies, an eagle, fires a 7-under 65, good for a 4-shot lead. That's his lowest score at Augusta National. He also tied a Masters record by taking at least a share of first-round lead for the 4th time in his career. And Justin Rose looking for that green jacket, off to a great start. Your defending champion, Dustin Johnson, who set the scoring record in November at 20 under, he failed to break par for the first time since an opening round in 2018. He settled for a 74. Bryson DeChambeau, who everybody calls Bison, he was excited to bring his long game to Augusta. He didn't make a birdie till hole number 15. He would shoot a 76, his highest score as a pro at Augusta National. So, I mean, we told you yesterday the course was not playing like it was in November, and these guys figured that out right away.
Except for Justin Rose.
except for Justin Rose, who went 7 under 65. Some of the other scores, Brian Harmon. Yes, that name sounds familiar. That is the
Butch Harmon is a son.
Yep.
Okay.
3 under after round 1, a 69. Hideki Matsuyama, 3 under 69. Harmon will tee off at 11:12. Matsuyama will tee off at noon. And then at 10:54, there's a guy at 2 under. Webb Simpson is at 2 under. He'll tee off at 12:24. Patrick Reed's at 2 under. He'll tee off at 1. Stuart Sink, by the way, 2 over. And he'll go off at 10:30. 2 over right now would put Stuart Sink, I believe, within the cut. So 2 over. But we will break all of that down coming up here in just a little bit more. About give or take 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Charlie Plott's going to be here in studio with us.
And no doubt, and Alabama grad Michael Thompson, is had a pretty decent first round. He was a guy that started his career at Tulane, he's at even par, tied for 13th. He ended up transferring to Alabama to finish his career, played with Justin Thomas. So he's lurking there. But like Patrick Reed, previous Masters champion, a guy that may not be the most popular dude on the tour. He kind of wears the black hat and
he's the villain right now.
You know what he is?
Golf.
He's really John Daly. He's really his generation's John Daly, because there were people that loved John and people that didn't like him just because of his he was kind of brash and unapologetic. And I do think Reed's a little bit on the the hat's a little bit probably bigger from the standpoint of people not liking him, but he kind of reminds me of John Daly.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't like Patrick Reed because of the allegations of cheating, just all that stuff, and his past coming in. He is clearly the type of golfer that his past didn't escape him once he got to the PGA Tour, and it kind of stayed with him from everything, and he starts winning. Not a ton, but he starts winning, gets into that spotlight, and you're right. Unapologetic, kind of brash, kind of bold, and he's just kind of that, he's that, I don't want to say villain, but he's the darker side of the golf. He gives people a reason to watch because he's the one that you don't want to see win because you want to see everybody else win.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's Patrick Reed.
Yeah, it is. And Jordan Spieth 1 under, so he's kind of continued the momentum. I mean, certainly it's not what he was doing at the Valero Open, but he is on the leaderboard, so that's encouraging.
All right, let's get a break in, because when we come back, Charlie Plott will sit in the chair as we break down round 1 and look forward to round 2.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Good morning from the traffic center. Working with a heavy traffic load now, trying to clear a couple of wrecks. County line near James Clements High School. That one had an injury involved. One in Decatur Central and Woodall. I'm sure that one's pretty well wrapped up now. The Somnodent from Dr. Sandman's an easy-to-use oral device. Insurance approved for sleep apnea and for snoring. Doctor visits are important. Please don't put them off. 350-CARE or RandallSandlin.com. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do? Check us out at cbcfamily.org.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Coming up next, it's the Tom Abraham Show with me, Tom Abraham. Now back to more Talkin Ball with Scott and Drew.
1965 for all their residential.
All right, welcome back to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone Studios. And as you can see, we now have not one, but two, but three in studio this morning. And with it being the Masters, with it being our a major, that means we have to bring in our golf analyst, Charlie Plott, into the studio.
Yes, we do. From Plott Performance, Charlie Plott back in with us. Best time of the year, especially for our next guest with the Masters cranked up one round in. And round two just underway, as Scott told you in the first segment of the show. Charlie, welcome back, man. How are you this morning?
Man, it is great to be here. And I am looking forward to the fact that we're back on a normal schedule.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're doing normal stuff. It's springtime and it's in Augusta.
Well, I was going to say, and that's the thing. Everybody remembers
November was strange.
Augusta, and they remember November. And everybody knows around here, the fall, everything's, you get a little more rain, everything's a little softer. Augusta was a little softer. Everybody was wondering how it was going to play. And what we saw in November, we just need to, like a dry erase board, we need to erase it from our minds, because what we're seeing now, this is the traditional Augusta. This is what Augusta is about. November was just to get the Masters in and say we had it. This is what we're used to seeing.
It was fascinating yesterday. First of all, I think there was some prep for what is coming this weekend, which is some rain. So the greens were hard. And one of my kids texted me and goes, God, the greens look awful. Well, bent grass does that when you starve it for water, and it gets firm and splotchy looking and all of that. They're going to get some rain, but the whole point is, where do they want this thing on Sunday? What do they want the conditions like on Sunday? It was brutal out there yesterday. I was watching highlights, and I didn't have the volume on. I just watched this series of highlights. Balls that were chipped, and they were going to go in very bad places, hit the pin and go in. Putts that were going to go off the green, hit the cup and went in. And the look on the guys' faces when that happened, they were just like, oh, thank you, Lord, that thing hit the hole.
That's what we want to see.
Yeah, I know.
We want to see the look on their faces that are like that.
Yes.
That's what we want.
And so patience just becomes huge. This is such a mental game golf course. It offers you opportunities. You sit out there in the fairway and you go, my goodness, I can hit that ball right at the flag. And the truth is, you may need to hit that ball 30, 40 feet from the flag for it to get 5 feet from the flag. And so it's a lot more like playing in Scotland, where you play away from the hole and, slopes carry it. But it was fascinating. Justin Rose is somebody that obviously can win this sort of event, has majors, under his belt. So I think he will handle it, but I think he would tell you right now, I was fortunate yesterday because he's got a 4-shot lead, a huge lead after the first round. Most of the time we get a somewhat nameless sort of person at the top. I mean, that's not unusual at the first round of the Masters. But you look at everybody else and they are bunched up. And I will tell you right now, you could have a winner come from 1 over, 2 over par easily. And the names on down the leaderboard it's rich. You start getting to even and 1 over. I thought Justin Thomas may be the guy coming in. And he has said he may want this one too much. He's got to really be patient. Well, he struggled, but got in at a decent score. Jordan Spieth, I turn on and he sounds like me in the woods, clanking them everywhere. And
but he played well last week, so we were watching.
Yeah, absolutely. And but he managed to get in a decent round. So a bunch of guys did not shoot themselves out of it. Bryson may have shot himself out of it yesterday with a.
Well,
every time I looked up, he was in the woods. I mean,
here's the thing: Justin Rose played late yesterday. Justin Rose plays early today, 7 under. Is that going to be much of a difference? I mean, was there a better scoring average in the afternoon versus the morning? They always talk about that.
No, I don't know that there was. I was worried they were going to get the bad weather yesterday afternoon, and the people that played yesterday afternoon, I texted that to Drew. I think that I can't remember. I was texting a lot about the Masters. But I thought that there was going to be bad weather yesterday that may still be lingering this morning. And so I don't think the people yesterday afternoon got as bad a situation. Generally, golf courses firm up in the afternoon, and it was firm right from the get-go. There was no doubt about that.
Yeah, no doubt. And as you said, Justin Rose, though, was very fortunate to get that eagle on 8, and he really just kind of jump-started the rest of his round because – with these conditions the way they are, Scott and I were joking before you joined us that we weren't going to see scoring records threatened like we did last year with what Dustin Johnson did to win his first green jacket. And yet Justin Rose has the kind of round he had yesterday being 7 under.
Yeah, and I don't expect him to come back with anything like that. Obviously, he's capable, but he got some balls that got close to the hole. He made some putts. If anybody was watching, I got busy. I was busy in the morning, had a little break, got to watch a little Masters, and starting about 2:00 in the afternoon until 11:30 last night, I didn't look at a thing other than leaderboard.
Right.
So I take my eyes off of it. He's 2 over teeing off on 8.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, several hours later, I pull up the thing and he's 7 under, and I'm like, holy, I'm thinking he eagled 13, he eagled 15, some story like that. And he eagles 8, and then he birdies 9, and then he birdies 10, and then he birdies 11, and it was just, he hit great shots. And in order to do that, you've got to land the ball in very small areas. I thought 12 was playing really difficult yesterday. A lot of folks kept leaving it in a bunker or hitting it long, and he just barely carried the front bunker. It hits and rolls out and into a great spot. And so you look at that sort of thing. If they get rain, if it softens up, I think it just turns into a wide open Augusta that you're going to see a lot of guys going low, not super duper low, but low, 4 under, 5 under scores may be common if it softens up. If it doesn't, 8 or 10 may win this.
Well, think about some of these numbers here. In 2020, in November, there were 54 under was the combined score of the first round in November. Plus 222 was the combined score yesterday. There were 53 rounds of under par golf back in November. There were only 12 yesterday. There were 24 rounds in the 60s in November. There were 3 yesterday. And there were 5 rounds in the 80s yesterday versus none in November. So when we say forget about what it was in November where these guys were just taking aim at the pin, that's not going to be the case now. So if you are in that middle of the pack, Stuart Sink is right there. He's 2 over. How do you treat today then? How do you go back at it today knowing that if you don't get rain, you're going to be playing on,
concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the patience plays in. This is where if you get some of these guys, somebody like a Stuart Sink, Stuart would probably tell you, I need to hit the ball longer. I need to do that sort of stuff to really take advantage of Augusta. But he is a patient man. And you just keep making pars, and the par fives lend themselves to opportunities, and you've got to think, if I just put it in play off the tee, I get it down around the green, I'm going to make some birdies. I might have 3 on the par 5. Something like that is a very doable thought. 2's usually a birdie hole. 8 can be. All of the par 5s have that opportunity to make an eagle or a birdie. Then you just hang on and you just keep trying to put it in places where you're not dead. This is where I think great chippers are going to come in. Jordan Spieth is one of those. He is a great chipper of the ball. This is why I think Bryson will struggle at Augusta, because that isn't what he's known for. And I do think if he gets the driver straight, he's going to have some short irons into the green. But what does he do when he doesn't? And I tell clients all the time, it's not about how good your good is. It's about how good your bad is. You have to hit really good golf shots not to have any bad happen when you come into those greens.
Let's step into the mind a little bit, because Justin Thomas alluded to this going into the week, that playing Augusta is not physical. Playing Augusta is mental.
It in the mental side, I think, of Augusta is the decision making. So I listened to him and to several other people. They know how to play the golf course. Then the question comes, can I hit the shots to play the golf course? And then you get there and it's like, oh man, I've got to give myself a good look for birdie. And you just decide to change that line into the pin a little bit. And all of a sudden it hits and it rolls off somewhere and you walk away with double. It is an emotional golf course. It gets high like Justin Rose did yesterday. And he managed to snowball that into something.
7 under, yeah. After a slow start.
Awful. I say awful. An awful start. You take somebody like Victor Hovland, a guy that most of you don't know about, was a great college player, came right out onto the tour and started winning. He starts with a triple on 1 yesterday and ends up shooting 1 or 2 over par. I look at somebody like that and I'm going, that tells me something about his mental game. That could have easily turned into an 80, into a 79, because you start pressing. So I think it's a decision-making golf course, but more than that, is an emotional golf course that you want to go for things. You stand there and you look down at the green on 15 and you realize it's just right there in front of you. And if you've never stood at the top of the hill and looked down at 15, Scott, it looks like you're hitting onto my cell phone over here. You don't get the appreciation of being there in person, and you have water in the front and water in the back. You don't realize the lake on 16 is in your view on the second shot on 15. And then you hit it and it's in the air and you're going, oh, is it good? Oh God, it's bad. Oh, is it good? Oh, and you don't know until it quits rolling. And it can land in the middle of the green and roll back off the front. You can fly it just a little bit long and it goes way down the hill in the back. Now you're really in a difficult situation. It is an emotional roller coaster to play at Augusta.
Really is. And Scott and I were joking yesterday. We were following the start of round 1 as we were on the show, and he ended up 1 over, so he's still there. But we started thinking, well, I wonder how much Charlie Plott knows about Hudson Swafford. He's 2 under right now.
Because we were like, this is Hudson Swafford's one of these guys, though, because he teed off first yesterday.
Yeah, first guy.
And he was the first guy on the leaderboard, so he was leading the Masters.
Yeah,
so
take pictures of that.
That's something you can show your grades with
and
for life.
Through about 7 holes, he was 2 under. So we were like, Hudson Swafford.
Okay, so Hudson Swafford, he ended up going to Georgia, and he played with Harris English, who Brian Harmon was on that team at Georgia. I had another client, Adam Mitchell, that was on that team at Georgia. Hudson Swafford is an awesome golfer. Big kid. I first met him when he was in high school at Birmingham Country Club. He came over there to play in a tournament. Harris English and another one of my clients, I'm blanking on who it was at the moment, it may have been Adam Mitchell, played a practice round, and I walked with them and got to know Hudson a little bit. Very gifted gifted golfer. But like you said, all of a sudden you want to stop and take pictures of that leaderboard.
That's what we were saying.
It doesn't matter if you're the only one playing.
It was like my daughter's basketball team this year. You all of a sudden, you're playing a really good team and you lead 5-2 on the leaderboard. Quick, take pictures of it. So Hudson is somebody who definitely could get in contention, but it starts playing on your mind. Oh my goodness, I'm leading at Augusta. He probably knew the conditions were tough. Man, if I just get it here. And then one of the deadly thoughts for tour players, and I know most of our listeners cannot relate to this, you get 2 under and most of us are going to think, oh, please let me hold on to it. And tour players think about under par differently than we do. They think of it as house money. That's Drew going to Las Vegas and they go, we're glad you're here. Here's $500 on us. You don't feel bad at all about risking that $500. And then all of a sudden when it gets in your pocket, it's a different thing.
Well, let's just say this. I was at a Wind Creek casino and a couple of Mays ago. We didn't do it last year because the softball was canceled, but they put me, that's where my hotel was. And I resisted the fact to gamble. My roommate did not go home with any money, but I did not. And I was even given someone's membership card with money on it. Like, you gonna give? I was like, no. But
you have to view that at Augusta as I've got some credit. Yeah. And so I maybe can take a chance here, or I can play a little safer over here and be in a good position. But most of us start thinking, hang on. And I guarantee you there were guys yesterday, because of the conditions, were thinking, hang on. And as soon as you start doing that, you start playing away from something, or you start playing away from something rather than to something. And at Augusta, the to something may not be the flag stick. and so understand this. At most tour events, you see a flag, you hit a flag. You see a flag, you hit a flag. Imagine how many of us go to the range and what are we going to aim at?
We're going to aim at the 220 or the 110 marker out there or whatever. Yeah.
You're going to aim at a flag.
Or the cart going by.
Yeah. see if I can hit the range guy.
See if I can hit the guy in the cart. Yeah.
And so we aim at something. One of the things they have to do there is you have to just block that flag out of your mind and go, I'm aiming 50 feet away because if I hit it over there, I can 2-putt. But if I go a little bit at the flag, I'm going to hit it and it may hit a slope or the speed may be right. And all of a sudden I've got a bogey. I've got a double bogey. So there is such an emotional game, a mental game that's got to be played at Augusta. And that is what is so beautiful about the golf course. That's what's so great about the golf course. You can shoot 7 under or you could shoot 7 over and it's just a matter of a few bounces.
All right, let's get a break in because when we come back, we need to talk about Plott performance and we need to talk about the Korn Ferry Tour as well because we're going to tie it all in together.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just got an update on that tractor trailer fire on the south side of Coleman, I-65 northbound. It has now been wrapped up. All the lanes are clear and moving once again in that area. Got a couple of wrecks, Kelly Cemetery and Martin Luther King and Kelly Springs and Bob Wade. That one has an injury in Bob. 565 westbound at County Lines reported as no injury. County Line in front of James Clements High School did have an injury reported. 2030 Fast Track can make your clothes fall off. Allison lost 100 pounds in 7 months on the plan. A free hormone quiz will tell you if the program can work for you. 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Hello, Huntsville. Crazy times make for crazy good deals. Get WOW Superfast Internet 100 for the crazy low price of $29.99 per month and get a free modem for 6 months. Offer details at wowway.com.
Wow. Here's Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford on their service department. President's Award winner 2 years in a row. That's only given to the top 10% of Ford dealers in customer satisfaction. So we're very proud of the service department. And our body shop. If you happen to get into an accident, which not a lot of people just want to go down and see a body shop, but if you get into an accident, award-winning body shop. We have state-of-the-art paint booths back there. They're waterborne paints that we use, friendly for the environment. We've got our production system, the way things are in and out. We have the fastest cycle rate in town of getting your vehicle in, getting your vehicle out, and assured that it's fixed right. We take pictures before it's wrecked, and not only after, but we take it as we're putting the parts on, all done to above industry standards. So I'm proud of our body shop too. Don't forget our parts department. So if you have to need parts, performance parts, or just parts if you're a weekend mechanic.
Woody Anderson Ford, located at the corner of Jordan and Sparkman, as well as Hughes Road and Madison. You can also check out the great deals at WoodyAndersonFord.com.
This is Wes Neighbor sitting here with Ann Adams. Ann, I understand you have some exciting news.
Yes, Wes, I do. Berkshire Hathaway Home Services was just recognized in the 30th annual Harris Poll Equitrend as the Real Estate Agency Brand of the Year and the most trusted real estate brand.
That is awesome news, Ann. Great companies in Huntsville, Alabama, winning awards is what we want. Is it a great time to list your home?
Yes, it is. The inventory is low and the market is heating up.
And I understand you're also looking for agents.
I am. We are so busy, Wes. We need agents to keep up with the demand.
Ann Adams and Rise Real Estate has been doing business in North Alabama for the last 35 years. If you want to do business with someone you can trust, she has been writing contracts since she was 9 years old. Call Ann today at 256-337-2625.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama, located online at universitykia.com. We cover all the SEC schools, including Western Union and Venmo. I want that money! 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, here we go. All right, 7:46 on a Friday morning. And welcome back to Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Charlie Plott in studio with us, breaking down the first round of the Masters. But he doesn't just watch golf all the time, Drew.
No, he doesn't. And he's got a big-time webinar coming up. You've heard him mention clients that he's got in the game of golf, but he's also got clients throughout athletics, and he's revamped Plott Performance, and you've heard him reference that as well. Charlie, we've got an event coming up this is free, by the way. It's called Shorten the Learning Curve. It'll be Wednesday, April the 21st from 7 to 8 Central. And is this AM or PM?
This is PM.
Okay, this will be at night. A free webinar presented by Plott Performance featuring Charlie. Does a great job as a mental game coach, working with professional golfers, young people in high school and college as well on their climb up, and, of course, athletics as a whole. But he was a special consultant to the 2008 Ryder Cup team. And you've got Brian Smith also, who's a certified golf instructor who's working with you, Charlie.
Yes, this is exciting. Plott Performance is back and revving up quickly. The webinar it's applicable to other people besides just golfers, but you'll probably have to translate it into your sport. Everybody wants to know how to shorten the learning curve. So much of that is mental. How do I practice? Just standing there beating balls, trying to do stuff doesn't necessarily lend itself to improvement. So we're going to take about 45 minutes. There'll be question and answer at the end, and we'll be able to help you figure out little tricks that tour players use to shorten the learning curve. And these are applicable, like I said, to other sports. This would be very applicable to baseball, volleyball, softball, soccer, any of these things. There are ways to shorten that learning curve.
Well, and speaking of learning curves, coming up here in less than what I believe we got 2 weeks, two and a half weeks.
Yeah.
The Korn Ferry Tour is going to make a stop at the Ledges, and 97.7 ESPN The Zone will be a big part of that, and you too will be a part of that, because one of the guys you're hoping to shorten that curve is playing up there at the ledges.
And played well last week.
Yeah. I worked with a high school team a decade ago up in Chattanooga that has Harris English playing in the Masters, has a Keith Mitchell. He's won on tour. There's another guy named Steven Yeager. Steven, I continued to work with him into college and have worked with him as a pro. He won his 6th Korn Ferry event last Sunday in a playoff in Sandestin. He will be here. Steven shot 58 on the Korn Ferry Tour several years ago.
Whew.
Yes, with 2 lip outs and a 3-putt for par on a par 5. Wow. Steven is awesome. He's from Germany. He lives in Chattanooga, married a girl there. Just a great guy. Come watch these Korn Ferry players. These are the guys you're going to be watching at Augusta in a couple of years.
Has he asked you about the ledges yet?
No, and we're about to have that conversation. Folks, we go up there, and most of us do not go and play from the tips. And the truth is, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous golf course. They're going to be blown away, absolutely blown away. Don't be shocked to see really good scores. They're not going to hit it left off the mountain 12 times like I do when I go up there.
Number 8?
Number 8. Number 8's real good.
Number 8. I've had a lot of balls I thought that are going to roll all the way down to Hampton Cove.
Yeah, well, I've been there. I've done that. 2 gets me. And then I get into that run on 15, 16, 17, and 18 that if that ball's going left. So
I've not had a problem on 2. I've had my share of problems on 1 for some whatever reason. I mean, because the depth perception on 1, you think the fairway is long and it's actually short. If you just go up there and with a little 3-wood, nice easy swing, you're going to be fine. But you think you got to go up there and hit it with that driver because you think it's longer than what it really is. And I guess that's part of that mental side of the game.
Well, years ago when you didn't have rangefinders to tell you the yardages, I had a tour pro who told me, he goes, just to make sure my depth perception is right, I do this. And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, at 150 yards, the flag sticks the height of my thumbnail. And he goes, he goes, so when I look at the yardage and it doesn't look right, I do. Nowadays, they've got all these rangefinders they just use in the practice rounds, tells them exactly what it is. And so they can execute that. If you walk up, and I've had numerous players, I've caddied on tour, and I got up to one, I said, you got about 171 into the flag, and he looks at me and he goes, is it 170, 171, or 172? And I kind of looked at him, he goes, I'm going to try to hit whichever one of those it is. And I was like, it's 171. So they play at a level we just can't even conceive. I'm happy if I get it within 10 yards of the intended distance. They're thinking 1 yard increments, way up into the 180, 90 yard range.
And I want to reiterate too, this Shorten the Learning Curve, this webinar is golf based. As the message is, develop your skills faster, transfer training to the course, swing it your way. And Charlie, they register at www.plottperformance.com. And as you have mentioned earlier, this is the all-new Plott Performance.
It is. And if you go there right now, you're going to have a place to register. But there's going to be a bunch of content show up on that website in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, it will be. And again, it's Wednesday, April 21st from 7 to 8 p.m. And it's a free webinar presented by Plott Performance called Shorten the Learning Curve to help you with your mental game with golf. And remember, Brian Smith, a Plott Performance certified golf instructor, is also going to take part in this.
Yeah, Brian, I have trained to understand there's a connection between personality and movement, and it really impacts how you learn the game and how you're taught the game. Brian is trained to know how to use that information, so he's got a lot of stories that will help you shorten the learning curve.
Absolutely.
All right, Charlie Plott has been in studio with us. All right, Charlie, so at the end of the day, over, under 7, Justin Rose 7 under right now. Does that score go lower Or are we looking at somebody closer to even par leading after round 2?
I think you're looking at 7 or 8 under.
So it kind of
lead.
stays at that line.
I think it stays, and you see a few people creep up. Somebody's going to shoot a good round today. There are too many good golfers not to do that.
Well, I asked you this off the air. Were you surprised at Brooks Koepka being able, coming off the knee surgery, to be two over and actually be, lurking?
Brooks is just a fabulous golfer. You don't win majors like he did without being a fabulous golfer. But that golf course, if you've coming off an injury, that's a hard walk.
Right.
A hard walk. I couldn't walk it in my condition these days. I could not walk that and play 18 holes. I might be able to go out to Colonial and walk that and play 18 holes, but it's a physically demanding golf course going up and down hills.
Wow. All right. Well, Larry Mize going the wrong way. Larry Mize started the wrong direction yesterday. He was at 13 over.
87, right?
Yeah, he's at 1 over today. So
Larry's a great guy. I've worked with Larry.
Out of the bunker, 1987.
So anticipate, because we're not even close to that mark yet. Anticipate a cut line, do you think?
Well, they start using 10 shots within of the lead, so you could end up with people. Well, I think they're so bunched up. That number, you're going to run into anybody within 10 shots of the lead. They may have 3/4 of the field within 10 shots of the lead.
All right. So there we go. Round 2 at Augusta National. If you're fortunate enough to get over there, enjoy the $1.50 pimento cheese and a $1.50 egg salad sandwiches.
You got that right.
Scott's still better. I was able to get my mother and father tickets to the Masters 2 years ago. And,
that's awesome.
And my cousin Janet and her husband. So that's when Tiger, of course, won his last green jacket. And it's the first time my father had ever, and he talked about how difficult it was. He did walk the course, but how draining it was. My mother could not. She sat, in a chair and was able to take everything in. But wow, it was quite a thrill for him and my cousin Janet and her husband Andy, and it was a great time. And I know Scott, he's been on the waiting list for years. he wants to get in.
I've been in the lottery. I'm just not lucky enough.
Hadn't won the lottery yet. I've considered myself very fortunate to give my dad that experience for a Father's Day gift. But Charlie, who do you still like? Who you think
I think Jordan Spieth is one of great interest because of the short game, because of the putting. Justin Rose. Not many people win wire to wire. Think I don't. There's too many that I like that are still in that 2 over and better score range. It's just going to be wide open. I texted you that. I think it's going to be the most wide open Masters ever. Watch Justin Rose go out and shoot 7 under again and walk away with it. But
if he wins the Masters, he jokes about it that he's had one arm in the green jacket, but never two in the green jacket. What would it do for Justin Rose? To obviously go wire to wire would be special, but to finally win.
Well, Justin, he is a major champion winner, so that never surprises me. His game fits Augusta,
right? But to win Augusta, everybody will say, you win the Open, you win the U.S. Open, you win the Players. Everyone's like, okay, great, but you don't submit that major legacy until you win.
Well, the thing that comes with it, it has to do with all the other stuff. The champions dinner. I can show up as Larry Mize and still go out and play. You turn around and you go, I'm going back for the rest of my life. That's what you don't get anywhere else.
I'll say my first memories of golf as a kid at 12 years old was watching with my dad and seeing that chip from Larry Mize in 1987. That's the first one that pops into my head every time. That's why when you said that, I was like, Larry Mize. There you go.
Yep, and you'll still talk about him.
Yep.
All right, that is hour 1 in the books. 60 minutes of fun just like that. We are not done,
Live performance, everybody, coming up.
All right. Oh, we're going to kick off hour number 2 with some good football talk. Colin Cowherd. Yep. Talks about Matt Jones. It's good.
It's probably a moron award. I can't wait for this.
Oh, it's a Moron Hall of Fame award nominee.
Nice.
All right, hour 2 next.
Here's Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford on their service department.
President's Award winner 2 years in a row. That's only given to the top 10% of Ford dealers in customer satisfaction. So we're very proud of the service department. And our body shop. If you happen to get into an accident, which not a lot of people just want to go down and see a body shop, but if you get into an accident, award-winning body shop. We have state-of-the-art paint booths back there. They're waterborne paints that we use, friendly for the environment. We've got our production system, the way things are in and out. We have the fastest cycle rate in town of getting your vehicle in, getting your vehicle out, and assured that it's fixed right. We take pictures before it's wrecked, and not only after, but we take it as we're putting the parts on. All done to above industry standards. So I'm proud of our body shop too. Don't forget our parts department. So you don't have to need parts, performance parts, or just parts if you're a weekend mechanic.
Woody Anderson Ford, located at the corner of Jordan and Sparkman, as well as Hughes Road and Madison. You can also check out the great deals at WoodyAndersonFord.com.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Good morning from the traffic center. Just got a new wreck in Limestone County, 99 and Patterson Hill. Got Kelly Cemetery and Martin Luther King and Bob Wade in Kelly Springs. That one reported with an injury. 565 westbound at County Line reported no injury. County Line in front of James Clements High School did have an injury involved. The Somnodent from Dr. Sandman's an easy-to-use oral device. Insurance approved for sleep apnea and for snoring. 350-CARE or Randall Sandlin. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the WZDX Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A little bit of sunshine through your Friday afternoon. Temperatures hanging out in the mid and upper 70s. Some scattered showers are going to be possible, especially through the back half of the afternoon, early into the evening. A better opportunity for more widespread shower and thunderstorm activity moves into the Tennessee Valley as we head into the overnight, early into your Saturday morning. Some of that activity could be on the strong or even severe end of the spectrum. All modes of severe weather are going to be possible. A mostly cloudy to overcast sky on Saturday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN. The Zone.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Odds makers still looking to get a head start on March Madness of next season. Days after Baylor won its first national championship, the latest odds have Gonzaga at plus 700, Florida State and Michigan each at plus 1,400, followed by Villanova and Ohio State at plus 1,600, Baylor and Kansas plus 2,000. Latest MLB futures released 1 week into the season. The Dodgers at plus 250 to win the World Series, the Yankees at plus 525, Astros plus 1,225, and Mets at plus 1,400. UFC tomorrow, the main card featuring middleweight Kevin Holland at plus 250 against Marvin Vettori at minus 325 on the money line. Sadiq Yusuf in the featherweight bout against Arnold Allen. Yusuf minus 140, Allen plus 115.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, we go. As always, this segment of Talking Ball to begin hour two, courtesy of our very good friends over at Terrell Technical Services Incorporated. In Madison, they offer that full line of environmental health and safety services, including industrial hygiene, asbestos, mold and bacterial services, Legionella testing, water management plans, lead-based paint inspection assessments and abatement plans, environmental site assessments, LEED-certified air testing, and more. Their staff does hold all U.S. EPA accreditations and nationally recognized certifications and credentials to necessitate your project to completion. Give Terrell Technical Services a call today at 256-461-9278 to discuss your environmental health or safety needs. And we previewed it. I mentioned it to wrap up hour number one. Colin Cowherd. By the way, the phone lines are open to you. Just want to let everybody know. 256-576-4977. 256-576-4977, because you may want to react to what you're about ready to hear. Colin Cowherd on Mac Jones.
And these people also want to hear with the Masters this week and with, of course, Father's Day coming up in June, pardon me. Mother's Day's in May, pardon me for saying that. But both mothers and fathers play golf. But our latest half-off deal is about to go live, Scott.
Oh, yes, it is. Eagles Nest Golf Course. You can get a round of golf, 2 rounds of golf in the cart, half off there at Eagles Nest Golf Course. And it's going to be for just $34. So it's
can't beat that. $34. And it's a round of golf. Is it for 1 or 2?
It's for 2.
You get a cart.
Two rounds on a cart for the price of 1, basically, is what it comes out to.
That's huge right there. $34 at Eagles Nest Golf Course. Great friend of 97.7 The Zone.
All right, so Colin Cowherd throws in Mitch Trubisky, the Chicago Bears, and Mac Jones all into the same conversation.
Mm-hmm. We think of the Niners as an ascending franchise and the Bears as a dying one. Mm-hmm. You draft Mac Jones, you may be the same franchise. This is the Bears drafting Mitch Trubisky. Look at the similarities. First of all, only the Bears in that draft loved Trubisky. They were the only team loved Trubisky. Only the Niners love Mac Jones. You don't hear another team interested. Trubisky was a 1-year college starter. That's it. Always a problem. 1 year. You can't win the job as a sophomore if you're an NFL quarterback, a junior. Mac Jones, similarly, is a 1-year starter. Couldn't beat out Tua. You seen Tua in Miami? Looked like the face of the league. Number 3, Chicago already had a good draft pick. They were at 3. They gave away all sorts of picks to move up to 2. They didn't have to. Nobody else was in Trubisky. Their intel was bad. The Niners already had a great pick, 12. Did you really have to give up all those picks to get to 3? Mac Jones wasn't going 3. I'm not sure Mac Jones is going before 12. The other thing, in the Trubisky draft, there were other quarterbacks who were clearly more physically gifted. Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson. In this draft, Mac Jones is the least physically gifted quarterback. And in the case with Trubisky, and in the case with Mac Jones, my scouts, my sources, hated Trubisky, and they don't like Mac Jones.
Well, I mean, he did make a good point about Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes not going before Trubisky. I would have liked both of them better, no doubt about it. I knew this point would come up because Mac had only played for a year. But where Moron doesn't understand is that Mitchell Trubisky wasn't, it's not like he was behind some. I think the guy was a good player that he was behind that, was maybe an all ACC honoree. I'd have to go back and look that up. But I know one thing sure as hell. He wasn't Tua Tagovailoa and he wasn't Jalen Hurts. Both of them are going to start in the National Football League. Okay, they had the best quarterback room, maybe ever, but at least in college football. So I'm just saying, I know there are some people that don't like Mac Jones because he can't run a 4.5 40, but he can run a 4.8, and he can't throw the ball across his body 65 yards, but he can process information, make reads, and throw the ball on time and accurately. And he played not in the ACC, which is a league that's a joke. He played in the SEC. And I will say this, if Mac Jones had a Southern California helmet on, then all of a sudden, miraculously, the sources for Colin Cowherd would change, the complete take would change, and he would love Mac Jones. He would
Floyd.
Number 1 overall in the draft. But I'll just say this. He brings up some valid points because Mac only played for a year. But again, you have to watch the film. I think I watched Trubisky at North Carolina. He never wowed me. Mac Jones wowed me constantly with the throws that he made in the tight windows and the accuracy that he threw the ball with. I'm sorry. I think he's going to be a lot better than Mitchell Trubisky And again, the Bears made a huge mistake, but I think, if you look at John Lynch's track record with draft picks, of course, Reuben Foster he did not pan out, but they took him late in round 1 now. But the others that have been, Lynch has they've done a great job building their organization.
Right.
And I think they're being measured here with the way I think they're doing their homework. And I don't, once again, I know who the sources are for Colin Cowherd, because, Mac Jones, to me, even in 1 year starting, proved that he was the best quarterback in college football last year. He played against high-level competition. Mitchell Trubisky in North Carolina, they didn't win anything. They didn't go, and I know what they'll say, oh, well, they had so much talent at Alabama. You idiots didn't even know who Mac Jones was. I mean, you're listening to a moron who didn't even know Joe Burrow played at Ohio State. How can anybody take seriously what this clown says? He didn't even know he had Urban Meyer in front of his ass, and didn't even know that Joe Burrow played at Ohio State. Oh, he did, Coach? I didn't even know that. Wake up, you Southern California schmuck. All you do is look at the Pac-12. You're a moron.
Let's go to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Floyd is with us this morning. Good morning, Floyd.
Good morning, guys. I'll try to keep this thing on the track, but this whole thing is getting ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. The quarterback thing, and why everybody thinks you have to have an elite athlete playing quarterback. I mean, if you can, it doesn't. You better be able to run a 4.40 if you can't stand on the beach and hit the ocean. I mean, that is crazy to me. They all seem to forget who won the Super Bowl this year, and it wasn't, it wasn't the best athlete at quarterback.
No, it wasn't Mahomes. All he was doing was running for his life. But I will say this: I guarantee you, Colin Cowherd. I watched him at Texas Tech. I didn't know that he was going to be this good, and of course, even be a top 10 pick. I don't think that Colin Cowherd had Pat Mahomes on his radar when he got drafted. Everybody knew who Deshaun Watson was because he played at the highest level, won a national championship. And then Mitchell Trubisky kind of came on that 1 year at North Carolina. I was surprised that Trubisky was, being ballyhooed that much. But I think Mac brings more to the table than Mitchell Trubisky did. It's all about the mental game. They weren't sure what Trubisky could do from the neck up. And he hasn't been able to succeed and be consistent in the NFL. And I'll say this too, Floyd. You watch football. You played it. As soon as I saw Mitchell as a rookie with the Bears, I had severe questions about his accuracy. You heard him take a shot at Tua, saying, "What's he doing in the NFL?" He's a young quarterback, moron. Give him more than a half year when he's coming back from a hip injury. But again, it's Colin. Since Tua didn't go to USC and shun the Pac-12, he's going to come up with a million holes in his game because all he does is lick the feet of anybody that plays on the left coast that can't play football anyway.
That's true. And something else, and I'm sorry but I've already heard, according to Golick Jr. yesterday, who has ridden his dad's coattails about as far as he can ride them. He even brought the race card into the thing, and how people with Justin Fields and how he can't read defenses, he can't process, and the stigma of the black quarterback. Look, I don't care if you're pink, purple, red polka dots, whatever. If you can read a defense, you can read a defense. If you can, that's the mental game is just as important as, or if not more than anything else when it comes to playing quarterback. And while you're down there this weekend, Drew, get in Saban's ear and tell him to recruit some 2-star receivers so some of our quarterbacks can get a little credit for their own ability.
Yeah, there you go. There's the solution. Recruit 1-star, 2-star wide receivers. So when these quarterbacks have these breakout years, then the quarterback doing it, not because of the receivers catching the ball.
Yeah, well,
exactly. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Well, it shows how stupid they are because they don't credit Clemson, and they don't say that about Clemson and Ohio State having such great supporting cast. It's always Alabama, even though Alabama doesn't win the national championship every year. They win it every other year because they're the greatest program in the history of college football. But I mean, at least on the best run we've ever seen. But again, you don't hear that Trevor Lawrence. When he won the national championship 2 years ago, there was guys who wanted him not to play another down of college football, didn't think he needed to, which is stupidity. But I mean, but they wouldn't have said, "Oh, the supporting guys were so good." I mean, he was a true freshman. It had to be really good if they're going to win the national championship. But they always say that about Alabama. Well, you got to take him off of here. You got to go put him over there at South Carolina and see what he can do if he had to.
Yeah. Well,
stupidity.
They didn't say that about Joe Burrow either.
No, they don't. Their excuse there is, well, Joe Burrow's a better athlete than Mac Jones. Even though we firmly admit that before the season started, we had him ranked a 4th or a 5th round pick, and then all of a sudden he went first overall. So like I said, a lot of these guys, man, it's all reactive. And, some of them have Alabama fatigue in the media, and I know Colin Cowdum does, but I mean, whatever.
Yeah. All right, guys. I just wanted to have some input, so we'll talk to you later.
Have a great weekend, Floyd. We appreciate the phone call.
If anybody else wants to get in on the show, you can. 256-576-4977. Again, 256-576-4977. That's the number of the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. It's open for you right now.
Well, and of the 3 Alabama quarterbacks, if Mac Jones goes third to the 49ers, I think he's going to the best spot of the 3. And I'm talking about Jalen Hurts because the Eagles are rebuilding. And then the Dolphins are rebuilding. Though the Dolphins, at least with Chris Greer and Brian Flores, have done a great job of accumulating draft
I was going to say, what does Miami do with all their draft picks this year that could make it a good
round 2 with some talent? And they got rid of boat anchor offensive coordinator Chan Gailey. And they're finally, I think, going to build an offense around his strength and not say, hey, Tua, on 3rd and 8, bail us out every time, even though we can't pass block worth of plug crap.
Or just run it up the middle and let's punt.
Or whatever.
But then when we put Ryan Fitzpatrick in.
Then we completely changed the play calling and everything else because he's a veteran quarterback. And go retire. Thank you. Appreciate it. Go away.
He's in Washington. He's competing for the Washington Stars.
No, I'm talking about Chan Gailey. Just retire. Leave. The game's passed you by, bro.
Again, 256-576-4977 if you want to get in on the show this morning. Round 2 of the Masters is underway, and we do have somebody making a charge up the board, Mackenzie Hughes.
Another new name.
The Canadian.
Uh-oh. Hey.
He is 2 under today. He started his round even par, so he is 2 under for the tournament now. And there's another guy who's 3 under on the day, Bernd Weisberger from Austria. He is 3 under for his round through 3 holes. He is now 1 under for the tournament. So the golfers right now that are on the course early, taking advantage maybe of some softer conditions to start the day as they are working some under par magic going on.
Yep.
Coming up here in just a little bit, we will preview some more of this Alabama scrimmage. Rodney Orr will join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline here in a little bit. And Drew, though, before we get to that, and I know everyone's going to say, well, no duh, because he was a senior, and so was John Petty. But Herbert Jones made it official yesterday via social media. He's going to put his name in the NBA draft. And,
right.
I say that because, yes, he's a senior, but keep in mind, all these seniors had the right to, if they wanted to, come back for another year of eligibility because of the pandemic. The NCAA did give them that right. But Herbert Jones putting his name in the NBA draft.
Yeah, he did. And John Petty really already said his goodbyes a few days ago. So neither one of them are returning. Don't expect Alex Reese or Jordan Bruner to return either. From what we understand, if they did return, they would not count toward the 13 scholarships. But I think all four of those seniors, Coach Nate Oates is anticipating them moving on because piggybacking off of that, yet another addition to the Alabama roster for next year. We were talking about it, and Amari Burnett, the former five-star guard from Prolific Prep in Napa, California. He has now chosen the University of Alabama. He will transfer from Texas Tech to Alabama, hopefully to be eligible immediately. We will see about that. But certainly Namari is a young man, 19 years of age, a combo guard. He played in 12 games for the Red Raiders, averaged about 5 points per game, but has a lot of natural talent. And so he will be added to that guard rotation for Alabama. When he came out of high school last year, he chose Texas Tech over Alabama and Michigan. So the Tide was heavily involved with him. He loves the style of play, loves the freedom offensively and the defensive system. So another victory for Nate Oates. And, we were thinking that might be it. But what we're hearing now, the buzz is Alabama may not be done. And the kid to watch from Furman. And yes, Alabama fans, if you DVR'd that game against the Paladins earlier in the season, you might want to go back and watch it because I do think it was interesting. I wasn't sure how hard Alabama was pushing, but I hear they had a very good Zoom meeting with this young man yesterday. He will commit on Sunday, and that's Noah Gurley, the graduate transfer from the Furman Paladins. Now what we want to know for sure is if a kid, we just told you if you were a senior going to come back for another year with your own squad, you didn't count. Now, if you transfer to another program, is that the case? And this guy would be repeating his final year of eligibility. He was a senior this past year with Furman, but we will see Noah Gurley, great player for the Paladins, all conference for Coach Ritchie over there. They were one of the better, group of five programs. They nearly beat Alabama in that game, but he's been an all-league performer, averaging 14-plus points the last couple of years. He's a stretch four, about 6'8", 210, 215. So we will see what happens, with Noah Gurley.
All right, going through that transfer portal again, just kind of letting everybody know. A lot of players are deciding where they're going. The flood of players entering the transfer portal has kind of slowed down just a little bit. But Mike Woodson, though, continues to make waves at Indiana. Mike Woodson getting a couple players out of the transfer portal, his own guys that went into the transfer portal when Archie Miller was fired. They're coming back to Indiana. And Mike Woodson continuing to build a decent roster there in Indiana as they pick up pick guard Xavier Johnson and Race Thompson.
Yeah, and a huge addition to his staff just a couple of days ago. Dane Fife, who I met coming here to recruit Josh Langford for Coach Tom Izzo. He had been with the Spartans over a decade. He is going back home to Indiana to be on Mike Woodson's staff. He could be the head coach in waiting. Mike Woodson, as we know, is already 62 years old. If Coach Woodson, puts a few years in, 5 to 6 to 7 years, Dane Fife stays there. No one would be shocked if Dane Fife ended up being the head basketball coach of the Hoosiers. He was, before going to Michigan State, at Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne for about 5 or 6 years there. So he has some head coaching experience, and he's a proud Hoosier. So going to be interesting to see if Dane Fife ends up in the future being the next head coach of the Indiana Hoosiers after the Woodson era.
All right, let's get a break in because when we come back, let's set the table one more time for Alabama's second scrimmage, and then Rodney Orr will join us.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck near Somerville in Morgan County, 36 around Brooks Lane. It's going to be a no injury. One working in Limestone County, 99 at Patterson Hill. No injury reported there. Kelly Cemetery in Martin Luther King's 3 to 4 cars. No injuries reported. Bob Wade in Kelly Springs reported with injuries. 565 westbound at County Line should be clearing. County Line near James Clements High School should be clearing. Snelling has immediate need for an experienced customer service rep. It is a warehouse standing position that takes and fills orders. Snelling 382-4000. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com. This week's Zone Deal is sweet and definitely one not to pass up. Half-price goodness from Bad Daddy's Burger Bar to enjoy while you enjoy the final days of the college basketball season. Right now with our Zone Deal, you can get $50 worth of Bad Daddy's Burger Bar goodness for half price, just $25. Enjoy the madness with some half-price badness. Get your Bad Daddy's half-price Zone Deal now before they're gone at 977ESPN.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up at noon today. Now, back to Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Microphone.
All right, welcome back to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. You look around the SEC, and April 17th, that is a big day for the SEC because, Drew, Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, Georgia, LSU, Mississippi State, and Vanderbilt will all have their spring games on April 17th. Missouri's already had theirs. They had theirs March 20th. And then April 24th, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas A&M, they will have their spring games. And lots of times these teams have 1-2 scrimmages leading into that final one, which is their spring game. Alabama, the same. They will have their second spring scrimmage tomorrow inside Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Yes, they will. In a few minutes, Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com, will give us a call, and will join us on the show. And he's just a longtime friend. I'm honored to contribute to TiderInsider.com, and he's going to give us his thoughts, from last week, the buzz he was hearing, and then what he's watching going into this scrimmage, or what he's going to be kind of the storylines he's following, the buzz he's anticipating hearing from this second scrimmage inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. So we always enjoy Rodney's insight.
You look at all the ones that are going on the 17th. Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, Georgia, LSU, Mississippi State, and Vanderbilt. Is the quarterback spot the most prevalent story in all of those schools?
No, well, not Georgia to a degree, because they wised up and JT Daniels is the starter and the Heisman front runner. Just ask Georgia. They're already, even though they've had injuries to Jermaine Burton and George Pickens, they're talking about the deepest wide receiver room. I saw the headline from JT Daniels hyping up his guys.
Right.
But no, Georgia's got they've got the really on paper the best quarterback returning in the league. I mean, you have to give them that. Certainly with what we saw the second half of the season from JT Daniels and his lineage and coming from modern day high school, so they're in really good shape there. Really for Georgia, it's going to be Aziz Ojulari, their pass rusher. They got to replace him, but they've recruited at a very high level. They got to replace Tyreek Stevenson. We talked about getting the West Virginia DB out of the portal.
Yeah.
So they're already trying to fill holes there. Florida is interesting because, yes, they are making a transition. Both Florida and Alabama, the two, they matched up in the SEC championship game, and Florida gave Alabama their biggest scare, 52-46. Both of them are really rebuilding their offenses from scratch.
And Florida does not have a spring game this year.
Yeah,
they're just doing a scrimmage,
they're just doing
closed door.
Closed door stuff. So, but those two storylines of those two teams are really similar, even though Florida needs to show improvement defensively as well, because it was just their back end was an abomination. But those are the storylines for those two schools. Auburn as well, because they've got a new coaching staff and they've got to rebuild their wide receiver room. Now they've got
but they also the question
maybe the best running back in the league.
Right.
Coming back and Tank Bigsby,
Bigsby,
even though he wasn't healthy by the end of last year. But when he was, he certainly was a huge factor.
But Auburn fans will tell you that Bo Nix raises a lot of red flags, and so
because
that's
he
a
took
big
some
question.
steps back because of he had the boat anchor named Chad Morris attached to him. So Chad Morris. Is there anybody within 3 years whose star was rising that cratered any faster than Chad Morris as a head coach or even a coordinator? So they're kind of having to build Bo Nix back up, rebuild that offensive line. No doubt about that. So we'll be following that. But in Vandy, Clark Lee, we talked to Chris Lee this week, that's very interesting what they're trying to do over there, trying to just basically start over with a new coaching staff. How much better can they get? Josh Heupel spoke to the media yesterday. He's dealing with all kind of off the field situations with the Beasley deal, but
he's got to find himself a quarterback.
Well, he does, and they have to rebuild their defense maybe out of the portal, probably after spring practice. So there's no doubt, that there are some storylines to follow. But again, a lot of star power loss at the quarterback position in the SEC. We haven't really talked about A&M. Kellen Mond, who started for 4 years, is gone.
Right.
So they've got a new era beginning at quarterback as well.
What a difference a year makes. Last year we were sitting here talking about the experienced teams, Texas A&M, Alabama, Florida, these are the schools, Tennessee for the most part. These were the schools that were returning their quarterbacks. These were the schools that we thought would have a lot of success. Now this year you look at the SEC and you look up and down this line, there's going to be some talent on the field. A lot of it is going to be unproven talent. Missouri appears to be in good shape. They have themselves a cornerback that emerged midway through last year. Now, tomorrow, Alabama will again have a chance to get their quarterback rotation or their quarterback of the future some more reps.
Rodney's ready.
Bryce Young had his first spring scrimmage a week ago. Drew, now he gets his second spring scrimmage coming up tomorrow.
Yes, he does. No doubt about that. And we're all looking forward to that. And we're also going to take a look back at last week and talk to our next guest, who, of course, is the founder and owner of TiderInsider.com. It's an honor to contribute, as I've said, to Tider Insider. He allows me to do that, gives me an outlet as we cover Alabama here. We are the home of University of Alabama Athletics at 97.7 The Zone. But it's always great to catch up with Rodney Orr, and he is with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Rodney, you're with Drew and Scott. Good morning.
Good morning, Drew and Scott. How are you guys?
Doing good, Rodney. And a lot to get to this morning in terms of Alabama. They get their second scrimmage tomorrow. But what do you think coming off that first scrimmage they took away from that one that's going to be key for the second one?
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, I just think that one thing that they really were hoping in the first scrimmage was so many young players, so many new coaches on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, how do these players respond, without coaches behind them, and pushing them, telling them what to do, correcting them? How do they respond? And it may not have been exactly a game-like situation, but it certainly wasn't the coach there instructing them on every play or whatever it might be. So I think that was one thing, and it seems like it went, given the number of changes offensively, it seems like it went fairly well. I mean, you look at that offensive side of the ball, they've got to still have a lot of young talent. No question about that. Again, it's just experience. As we said before, this spring has even started on TigerInsider.com, folks, don't be surprised nor alarmed that the defense is going to be ahead this spring. And that's the way it used to be, every year. But probably since 2017, the offense has had the upper hand. But, now you've got a lot of experience defensively, a lot of players that have grown up over the last 2 or 3 years. And then you've got a lot of continuity on the defensive side in terms of coaching. So it's not really a surprise that the defense is ahead. But I think, to your question, I would really say that, again, I just think that they want to continue to see growth in players, see guys step up as leaders, take on those roles. And I think that's something that, they're looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, no doubt. And Rodney, I know as far as scrimmage number one, I know you take questions via email from your subscribers and you try to answer them to the best of your ability, and you give them insight that you can only find on TigerInsider.com. But as far as the storylines from scrimmage one, what stuck out to you, the most?
Well, I think there were a lot of things probably that we've heard. Again, I think the encouraging things on offense are this. I think you have a quarterback, Bryce Young, that's got a lot of talent. Just needs some experience, but I think he's got a chance to be really, really good. You've got a lot of young offensive linemen. I think that the key here is the three that they're going to have back with Evan Neal, Emil Ekior, who is not participating this spring at right guard due to recovering for some injuries, and then Chris Owens, who filled in for Landon Dickerson at center in the playoffs and did a great job. So I think their experience, their leadership is going to be really good and lay the foundation for this offensive line to be good once again, because, again, they have a lot of young players up front to choose from and to compete for these positions. So feel really good about that. I think that the running back room, we've talked about that repeatedly. It's loaded with talent. Again, experience is a key. Wide receiver is really an interesting position to me. You've got some great players that you've had to replace over the last 2 years, obviously. And who steps up? We know Mechie's not participating this spring due to injury. Slade Bolden, I think he's going to have a really nice role as a slot receiver. And then, who are some of the other guys? Who are a couple other guys that may step up? Javon Baker sounds like he's ready to kind of take that next step, had a big play in the scrimmage. So keep an eye on Javon Baker. You've got Trayshawn Holden, who was out there with the first group at one point, I think, in the scrimmage. And then also Tyu Jones-Bell, another guy that was a true freshman last year with Baker and Holden. So then you've got three true freshmen here right now, Ajay Hall, Ja'Cory Brooks, and Christian Leary. So if they can get a couple of guys to step up and really become players for them, I think they've got a chance, once they gain some experience offensively, to be really, really good. On the defensive side, Drew, I think that what really stuck out to me about the information that we've gathered from the scrimmage, and for those listeners who don't know, and I'm sure you've told them repeatedly, but just in case, the scrimmages are closed, so we have to go on what observers tell us. But I would think on the defensive side of the ball, one of the more encouraging things is just up front defensively, the talent that they have, some of the depth that they're building. You're talking about a defensive line, Byron Young, Justin Aboibe, DJ Dale. Fadarian Mathis is not participating this spring due to injury, but he'll be fine. he brings a lot of leadership to that defensive front. Then Timothy Smith, Jamil Burrows, Jamarian Latham. Those guys are really stepping up. Will Anderson outside with Chris Allen. They were dominant in the scrimmages, pass rushers. You've got some other young outside backers, Drew Sanders, Quandarius Robinson, King Makuta. These are guys that really have a tremendous amount of talent and potential. And then inside backer, I think Jalen Moody, his emergence has been really good to go with Christian Harris. So those are some of the things. Obviously, the defensive secondary, I think they've got a chance with DeMarco Helms, Jordan Battle back at the safety spots, Malachi Moore not participating. Think about all these players we're talking about. Brian Branch, a lot of young talent. Josh Jobe back at the corner spot. And maybe the guy, the story of the spring in the secondary, Jalen Armour Davis, Drew.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, you remember, it seemed like a year or so ago at this time, he may be on the verge of entering the transfer portal. There were rumors and whispers of that. And now here he is. He's got a great opportunity to nail down a starting job.
We know Bryce Young is going to get a lot of those first-team reps tomorrow, and obviously so. He's probably the leader in the clubhouse. But last year, we talked about who could be the backup and stuff. How important is this second scrimmage to line up the guys behind Bryce Young, not just getting Bryce Young the snaps?
Right. No, I think that's a great question. Again, I think that is one of the more important positions on the team, actually. And I have said that before spring started, that, who's the backup, because he's going to be really important. You always want to, certainly hope that, a guy like Bryce Young doesn't have to go out of a game due to an injury or whatever, but sometimes it happens. And if it does, you've got to have somebody to be able to step in. And, right now, obviously Paul Tyson's been working at the position as a backup, and Jalen Milrose, a true freshman. But and talking to some people actually, and I think Drew's kind of had the same information, is walk on Jay Barker's son, Braxton Barker, has looked really, really good this spring. And, is legitimately there in terms of a backup quarterback. So, he could be a guy that, we'll see how it all unfolds, but certainly would mention his name. He'll get some reps for sure tomorrow as well.
Yeah, and, he had some bright moments from what we hear in scrimmage one, and, of course, so did Bryce Young. We will see about the continued development of those other two younger guys, a Paul Tyson and then Jalen Milroe. Milroe, of course, just out of high school, great athlete, but, is kind of swimming mentally. That shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, Rodney. But also we wanted to ask you, too, we had Pat call in from Tuscaloosa. I gave him, my take on it. We want to hear it from you. You're following it closely because we know in the near future we think the transfer rule, there will be some clarity on it within the SEC. What is the latest with a couple of guys like Henry To'oTo'o and then, of course, JT Tuilamoau? I believe they're finishing their season in the next week or so over in California. But is Alabama, in your mind, still heavily in the mix for both of those young guys?
Well, I think so. To'oTo'o, last I was told from a really good source on Henry, was that it's Alabama and Ohio State are his top two, clearly his two favorites. I think he's going to make a visit here pretty soon to Ohio State. So those two right now. But here's a couple of factors here. Number one is what happens with the ruling on granting transfers the freedom to transfer one time in their career without having to sit out a year. I think that's the key, which I think the NCAA is going to pass it. Will the SEC allow interconference, to players to transfer from one school to another without the penalty? We'll see. If they pass that, if the SEC passes that, then that's a huge step for To'oTo'o. If they don't, then there's no question he'll be headed to Ohio State or elsewhere. And then, also I do think, Drew, from what I've been told, Drew and Scott, that he has looked at the depth chart. He thinks he can walk in at Ohio State. And listen, he's a great player. He can play here immediately too. It's not what I'm saying, but with Jalen Moody and Christian Harris here, he certainly have some competition. And these are guys that have been in the program. But at Ohio State, he feels like there's a little, easier path to the field. So that's something that certainly is a consideration for him. Other than that, right now, I think another key would be, and I think he said this, is the fact that he feels comfortable with Alabama's defensive, schemes, the way they do things. He's kind of familiar with that due to the fact that he played for Jeremy Pruitt and Derek Ansley at Tennessee, both Saban proteges. So, we'll see what happens. As far as JT Tuimoloau, you know what? I don't know what he's going to do in terms of when he's going to make a decision. You're right. His season's finishing. He wants to take some visits. He's going to have to get somewhere fairly quickly and get into a program, though, Drew, this summer, because this thing's getting started up, and the longer you wait, if he takes visits this summer, then there's a lot of guys that are working hard, and he'll be behind a little bit wherever he decides to go. So I would expect he would probably make a decision by early June. And I think it's probably Alabama and Ohio State. And I say that, but I would not count out Oregon or even Washington, a West Coast school. But I do think Alabama and Ohio State are in there pretty strongly.
Well, and I wanted to, as we're wrapping it up with the last couple of minutes, great, stuff on the scrimmage. But the final thoughts I wanted to get with you. What are you going to be kind of monitoring the most heading into scrimmage 2? And then I wanted to have you comment on Mac Jones because you saw him up close more than anyone. We played some comments from Colin Cowherd, who basically compared him to Mitchell Trubisky and said if the 49ers draft him, it's going to be a disaster, and that he doesn't believe in Mac Jones. Of course, he probably didn't even know who Mac Jones was 6 months ago. But just give us your thoughts heading into scrimmage 2, what you're going to be following and looking for, and then, of course, your comments and thoughts on Mac Jones.
Well, like on scrimmage 2, once again, just, things that interest me or what we talk about the quarterback, certainly, how do they perform? Because I think that's going to be a key. What are the offensive line combinations? How are they, developing? And wide receiver. And I know I'm talking a lot about the offense here. But it's replacing, this is unprecedented. They're replacing 3 of the top 5 Heisman vote getters in the country from last year. Then, obviously the winner, the Heisman winner, several All-Americans, Alex Leatherwood, Landon Dickerson, 2 outstanding offensive linemen who were award winners, Remington and Outland. So, they've got a lot to do offensively, and I'm just interested in hearing, how this offense continues to progress, in scrimmage 2, and, anything we can pick up on defense is going to be certainly interesting as well. But as far as Mac Jones is concerned, or what Cowherd, I think Cowherd is kind of likes to stir the pot a little bit. Some of his past comments kind of give you that indication. But as far as Mac's concerned, you know what? I really don't know when you're an NFL organization. You guys know this. Taking quarterbacks, it seems like it can be a crapshoot most of the time. You just never really know. I mean, Joe Montana was a 3rd-round draft pick. Yeah. Tom Brady was a 6th-round draft pick. Correct. Going way back, Bart Starr was Drew and Scott, a 17th round draft pick, 15th round, whatever, So, I mean, you never really know, how this is going to unfold. But, I mean, I think Mac would be a great fit for the 49ers. Seems like he's the kind of quarterback that Kyle Shanahan really prefers and likes. So, I think Mac has got a lot of tools. Is he the number 3 overall pick? That's kind of something that I don't know how you guys, think about it, but it is a little surprising that they would give up that much. And again, it's not that Mac won't be the next Joe Montana, but that they gave up a lot, so they must be really confident if they take him that he's going to be the guy for the future.
All right. Well, great stuff, Rodney, and enjoy the weekend and see where this scrimmage 2 will take us leading into A-Day on April 17th.
Yeah, no doubt, Rodney. We look forward to your coverage. Let everybody know how you can. Everyone can connect with TighterInsider.com.
Well, it's TighterInsider.com. It's only $48 a year, and we got. You mentioned our mailbag update yesterday, Drew, and that's one of our most recent updates. It's something I think your fans would be interested in. But it's only $48 a year. It gives you access to all that premium information, but also our All Sports Forum, which is constant flow among our community of Alabama fans of information, exchange of opinions and all of this. But it never really stops at TiderInsider.com.
It never does, Rodney. Thank you. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you again soon, and appreciate the time.
Okay, thanks, Drew and Scott. You guys take care.
All right, thanks, Rodney. Rodney Orr helping us get to break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up our week.
Masters!
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We're beginning to wind it down quickly now. Haven't picked up anything new accident-wise. Everything from earlier should be about ready to clear or maybe already gone. You be careful on the rest of your trip in. Looks like we got a lot of folks scrambling trying to get in on time this morning. At Popeyes, you could get the shrimp tackle box or the surf and turf, $5. That's 8 crunchy buttermilk shrimp or 4 regular shrimp with the side and the biscuit. Popeyes, Jordan Lane, North Parkway, and 72 at Jeff Road. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner of University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Madison Academy football. And a quick shout out to my son, Avery Seaton, number 19. Stop into University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including our all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and the sporting new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com to view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see you in the Kia. Go Mustangs!
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Terrell Technical Services in Madison offers a full line of environmental health and safety services, including industrial hygiene, asbestos, mold, and bacterial services, Legionella testing and water management plans, lead-based paint inspections, assessments and abatement plans, environmental site assessments, LEED certified air testing, and more. Their staff holds all EPA accreditations and nationally recognized certifications and credentials to necessitate your project to completion. Give Terrell Technical Services a call today at 256-461-9278 to discuss your environmental health or safety needs. And go Army!
Want to call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline? We have a new number for you. 888-256-576-4977.
Hold it!
That's 256-576-4977.
Well, what do you know?
We promise this number will be the one we keep. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama, located online at universitykia.com. The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. From today's headlines to the guests you want to hear from.
Who wants to party?
Listen in and join in. Weekday afternoons starting at 5. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, 6 minutes to the bumper. Here we go.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7.
Okay, Mike's hot.
Zone.
We're going to get to your Masters second round update here in just a second because that's some of the big headlines going on. But the Atlanta Braves, Drew, have their home opener today back in Atlanta.
Yes.
Fans back in the stands.
Phillies coming to town.
And just a little bit ago, the Atlanta Braves, voiced by Hall of Fame and legendary Hank Aaron, sent this message out to Braves fans.
You know, it's a funny thing about baseball. Baseball has its ups and downs. But one thing about it is that most people who go to the games and watch you play, they'll go out to the ballpark, and no matter where they're sitting at, they're rooting for the same team, black and white. It somehow has a way of gluing people, bringing people together.
Just a little message there. Just something fun to welcome everybody back to Truist Park for the first time. Fans at the Atlanta Braves game today, which you'll be able to hear, I believe, right on 97.7 ESPN. Are we having the game today?
Well, I mean, I would. What time is the first pitch? I mean, because I know Steve and Wes are going to be in studio today, Scott. So
we have these little calendars, but
yeah,
I tell you what, the print's so small. I'm getting so old, I can't even read the darn time.
Yeah.
I mean, these are useless.
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord.
Yeah.
Well, we're probably not going to. I don't think we're going to have it on today.
Well, I mean, because we are going to be carrying Alabama baseball tonight.
Right. So I think we got to get the drive in, and then we got to get.
So I don't think we're going to have Braves baseball because tonight it's going to be at 6:20. So it's going to be
5:20. No, we got to get the drive in tonight.
Well, no, yeah, I believe that's 6:20 Central.
Seriously, you have a birthday coming up on Sunday.
Yeah,
you're getting just as old as me. Look at that. You cannot read the print on this small schedule.
Yeah, it is. But
it is awful.
We are the home of the Braves. You will hear the Braves here many times on 97.7 The Zone. Not tonight. We are going to carry the entirety of the series for Alabama baseball as they're looking to get off the Schneid in College Station, Texas. Alabama will be taking on the Texas A&M Aggies. So we will be carrying that action this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yes, I will be turning Wesley Neighbors on Sunday, which is the big 4-6. Appreciate that, Scott.
Happy birthday to you.
Little bit of applause there. We appreciate it. I'm sure there are some that are not so happy about that. But, hey, we're celebrating a birthday here. You can't please everybody, but we love our listeners. Certainly.
Who would not be happy about you celebrating a birthday?
Probably shut down, man. We're certainly not going to ever exchange Christmas cards. I'll give him a shout out, though. I'm sure he enjoyed hearing about Braxton Barker and what Rodney Orr said. So he's been lauding Braxton Barker on Twitter. So there you go, brother. We're going to throw you a bone there a little bit. No doubt about it. I am not bullying you, so you can calm down. But
there we go.
Yeah, but we are going to have an extensive scrimmage report on Monday. We look forward to that. We look forward to being in Tuscaloosa this weekend. We'll have multiple eyes on the scrimmage, so we are excited to just be returning to normal here with some Alabama football, and we are the home of Alabama athletics here at 97.7. So we look forward to that, and the Masters. I know you've got an update.
I do. Justin Rose bogeys hole number 1. He's now 6 under, still leading the Masters, but by 3 shots. There's 3 golfers at 3 under. And then, as Charlie Plott said, this is a log jam right now. There are 6 golfers at 2 under. Now, of course, 4 of those 6 have yet to tee off today. The first one will go off at 10:54. But we have got a big Bernd Weisberger, we told you, from Austria, was having himself a field day right now. Through 6 holes, Drew, he is 4 under on the day, 2 under for the tournament. So there is some guys making a charge up the leaderboard, and I'm trying to see. Stuart Sink, I believe, did get off while we were on the air, while our show has gone off.
Yeah.
And I'm scrolling down to see where Stuart Sink is right now. He was 2 over to start the day. And Stuart Sink right now is 2 over still. He doesn't go off till 10:30. So I thought he went off while the show, but he doesn't go off till 10:30. So we wish him nothing but the best as well.
Yes, and we will wrap up the Masters on Monday live from Bill Penny Toyota with Charlie Plott coming back in to give us his thoughts as we wrap it up. And we'll be, of course, giving you some Alabama scrimmage info and just some buzz coming out of scrimmage number 2. So we look forward to that. And everybody enjoy this weekend. Be weather aware. There could be some severe weather coming through late tonight into the morning hours. Hopefully that'll get out of here.
Yep.
Everybody can have a great weekend. But we appreciate all the support. The Czar will be coming up with Joe Hunk from 10 to noon. And then, of course, the guys tonight in studio is probably going to have a Pick 2 Masters contest. So be aware of that. And then we will go into Alabama baseball, College Station, Texas. Crimson Tide desperate for a series win in the SEC.
All right, guys, that is going to do it. 2 hours of fun in the books. One thing I want to mention, though, the first ever HBCU Combine taking place today on the campus of UAB. 42 players invited to that. It's a 2-day event. So good for them, getting some exposure in front of NFL, CFL, and XFL scouts. I'll leave you on that because the eyes just roll.
I don't like spring football. I'll never like it. I haven't even paid attention to college football. I can tell you that. It's not normal. It doesn't work.
See you, folks.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's